On the screen, you can see that I have JWay JSON path. So this is a handy DSL for reading JSON documents, and it is included in the Spring Boot test dependency. So we are going to be using this to perform assertions against the JSON object that is coming back. So remember, mock MVC is going to be returning back the actual JSON object, and we want to run some tests against it. And you can see here, these are some examples here. You can use a dot notation or a bracket notation. That is up to you. I'm going to put a link to the documentation in the lecture resources for your reference. Pretty straightforward to utilize, and I'm going to show you some examples. Obviously not going to be able to cover every single feature inside of JWay JSON path, but for the different use cases, you'll have the reference documentation go to. So I'm going to toggle over to IntelliJ and show you how to write some assertions against what is coming back. So here I am in IntelliJ, and we can actually make our test a little more logical. So what we can do here is on our beer service, rather than taking any UID in, we can say test beer get ID. And now that's going to say only for the ID value are we going to return back that test beer. So you have to give it that specific UID. Remember, our map implementation, that's going to generate a new UID every time. So that's why we need to go ahead and utilize that. And we also need to change our URL to include. So we want to append the ID. So that'll get converted to a string and appended to the string of the URL. And double check this. So this should still run. Make sure that we are getting the proper behavior first. And we're not doing any assertions yet. So we did run as expected, which is good. So let me resize this a little bit. Now let's go ahead and write some assertions on this. And we can say and expect. So we're going to say JSON path. And we're going to give an expression. And all of them start with a $sign dot. And we're going to say $.ID. So that's meaning from the root. And we can say comma is test beer get ID. And I think we need to do a toString on that. And now we need to come in and add in a couple static imports. So we're going to say mock MVC result matcher. So we're dealing with the result. And we are going to use the byte buddy matcher. Getting something unhappy here. I double check that import. Oh, that should be a ham crust. So I did the wrong import there. So I brought in the wrong static import. That's one of the harder things about testing with this. There are a lot of static imports to give you this simple API expression. So I actually made a mistake there. So I was bringing in the wrong matcher value. That's actually supposed to be a ham crust, and unfortunately IntelliJ didn't pick that up. IntelliJ does seem to have problems with that at times, but once you get things set up in a larger test, you're good. And now we can give it another expression. So we can say $sign. That is going to be from the root of the document. And I can say beer name, again, is, and in this case, we can say from our test beer, get the beer name. So that's going to perform that assertion there. So we'll go ahead and run this, and you can see that we are now passing. If I were to do something like this, just said foo, and if I run it again, of course, this is going to cause a failure. And when I look at this, I just want you to see the actual JSON document coming back. So we are matching on the ID. So you can see, let's see here. I'm just looking at the 658EE for the UID. We can see that we are bringing back 658EE, so that is working as expected. And in this case, I messed up the match. So you can see we are getting a JSON document back with a beer name of Crank. And if I come here and remove our foo, it will return back to passing. But I made it fail because I wanted you to see the actual JSON object. So we are actually getting JSON back from our mock controller. And by using JSON path, the JWay JSON path expressions, in conjunction with the ham crust matchers, we can test just about any value we want on that JSON document that is being returned by the controller. So just to reiterate what we added here, the static imports are probably the hardest to deal with. We are bringing the result matchers, and then also the ham crust core is that is what's giving us this matcher here. So these matchers and the static imports are probably the most difficult thing to get straight when you're starting to work with mock MVC. But as you can see now, we have a much better test for get beer by ID. We are asserting that it is passing in a UID value. The UID value is getting parsed and sent to our service. Our Mockito matcher is matching on that UID, making sure, because the mock won't return back anything if we have the wrong UID. This would return back nothing. And then we are performing assertions against the actual JSON document that is being returned back by the controller. So this is a much improved test over what we started with for get beer by ID.